It's your girl, Alicia Gaucher Page, and welcome to The Real Autism Podcast, where we share relevant, effective, actionable living strategies and solutions. And today, my guest is Miss Flora Ostrow. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, let's get right into it. Who is Flora?
Well, I am someone who's never been afraid to be myself or feel like I need to hide who I am. With that said, I often make people laugh, even when I'm not trying to be funny. I think I also have a unique way of looking at the world because I found that my takeaways on things are different from others. I could just list off a bunch of traits about myself, but I can't just list those and ignore the fact that I'm autistic because autism is an integral part of who I am, and I don't know how much my traits would change if I wasn't autistic. I will say that I'm very creative, and I'm very good at video, photo, and audio editing, so much so that I'm editing my brother and sister-in-law's wedding video. I also was considering starting a business where I would digitize people's VHS tapes and the like, but I don't have a head for business. I'm better at doing the work than the behind-the-scenes business side of things. I'm also good at singing, and I like to sing songs in other languages.
Awesome. I didn't know you were a singer. I think I missed that before. Awesome. Okay. So tell us, what has your journey been with autism? Like, from your perspective.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 8, and back then it was Asperger's syndrome in my case. This information wasn't new to my parents, though. I had been evaluated when I was 3 as part of one of the programs I was involved with at the time, and while the evaluator said I had possible early Asperger's syndrome symptoms, I wasn't diagnosed with anything. With that said, my parents believed I had it, and that information was never hidden from me. But I didn't know what Asperger's was, and neither did they. All we knew was that it was part of autism, and it meant that my brain worked in a different way that was neither good or bad. All of that changed one night when I was at my dad's office. I was 9 at the time. I saw that he had books about autism and Asperger's, and I asked him if I could take one home with me to read. He said yes, and I chose the now outdated book, All Cats Have Asperger's Syndrome by Kathy Hoopman. On each page, there's a cat picture and a text explaining one of the traits of Asperger's. Although the writing in the book was fairly simple, it was life-changing for me because it was the first book I had that showed me what having Asperger's meant. Before then, I was always told that having Asperger's meant that my brain works differently, but I never knew how until I read that book. The next morning, I started reading, and Mom would read over my shoulder and say some variation of, "That's you," to almost every statement in the book. I learned that day that for me, autism, and by extension Asperger's, meant having unique perspective, sensory issues, food issues, a preference for repetition, sameness and routine, and indifference to peers, tantrums well past the acceptable tantrum age, a brilliant mind with advanced vocabulary, poor social skills, misunderstandings with communication, special interests, blunt honesty, and difficulty understanding social concepts. I realized that some of these qualities were why I was bullied more frequently than other people, and why I related to all the robots, aliens, weirdos, and other outsiders I read about or saw on TV. After that, I read every autism and Asperger's related book that I could get my hands on, fictional or not. My autism book collection was slim at the time, but it was great learning more about the history of autism and the different ways that it presents in people.
Awesome. So a lot of reading on autism. Yeah. A lot of reading. And you gave us some good books. So for those of you that need to do some reading, make sure you pay attention to the names of the books that she indicated. So if you had to break it down, what has been the good, the bad, and has it been any ugly to your journey with autism?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was talking to Mom and Dad before this, and there actually wasn't ugly. It was either good or bad. Okay. It was like either from 0 to 100.
Okay, I got that.
I'll start with the bad stuff first.
Okay.
When I was 3, I was in what was the feeding program at what was the Marcus Institute because I only ate dry, crunchy things, baby food, and breast milk. I also couldn't tell when I was full or when I was hungry. These issues were resolved after about a year. After that, I was able to eat foods with different textures, and I knew my body's signals, but I still needed to be prompted to eat, and we followed up with the people from the program until I was in 2nd grade when I no longer needed any assistance when eating. I also had a lot of really aggressive tantrums whenever I was angry or upset until I was in 3rd grade. These were separate from meltdowns, although those were pretty aggressive too at the time. Aside from autism-specific issues, when I was younger I also had trouble sleeping and I had a lot of medical trauma and needed lots of various therapies because I was born 3 months early and I had a stroke when I was a baby. The good was Everything aside from the bad. My traits, my talents, my strengths, funny autism anecdotes, and my supportive family.
Wow, you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
But look at you now.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So let's talk about the puzzle piece. Can you share the story of why you take a strong exception to the puzzle piece and what it represents to you?
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to talk about the one from 1967 because nobody really uses that anymore. But so I'll talk about the most two popular logos.
Okay.
Okay, so the bright multicolored puzzle piece logo was supposed to represent the diversity of the autism spectrum and hope for autistic people. There's also the single puzzle piece that is supposed to represent the search for answers because autism is puzzling. Both of these symbols are very well known. The problem is that for a long time, these autism organizations that created these symbols did things that went against what these symbols were supposed to represent, all in the name of autism awareness. The only thing that they made the public aware of is that autism is a disease and sometimes a fate worse than death. Or that autistic children might as well be dead, that they're burdens, that their lives are tragic, that they're either beyond help or can only get help through being forced to hide their autistic traits, that the only goal is to find out what causes autism so it can be eradicated. Since companies had these views, the meaning of their logos changed. The multicolored logo didn't mean diversity anymore. It meant that autistic people are mixed up because, while the pieces fit in the symbol, the colors are mixed up and jumbled. The bright primary colors didn't mean hope anymore. They serve as a reminder that autistic people are infantilized. The single puzzle piece that meant a search for answers means that there is a piece of us that will always be missing, that we aren't whole and shouldn't be seen as whole. In my opinion, any puzzle piece logo when it comes to autism is tainted. It's kind of like the swastika. It was used since ancient times as a symbol of good fortune and well-being in many Eastern religions, but all anyone thinks about now when it comes to that symbol is the Nazis. That's another tainted symbol. Back to the puzzle piece, though. Someone with good actions matching good intentions should choose better symbols because of the puzzle piece's negative associations. That's why many in the autism community, myself included, don't like the puzzle piece and prefer other symbols out there that better represent us instead.
Yeah, and they do have now, I think it's like the infinity symbol now that is being used a lot. And you said a lot of things that resonate, like the negative things that come along with the puzzle piece from before. But I hope through my organization we can create some awareness around what autism really is, and it's not this secret that we're trying to solve for.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because, like, there are other things, problematic things from autism's history that are evolving. At the same time, though, the puzzle piece is still kind of a turnoff for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can respect that. I mean, y'all, she almost didn't.
Yeah.
We almost didn't meet because of the puzzle piece, because in my logo is the puzzle piece.
Yeah, and the invitations to this podcast,
yeah, the invitation
and, like, on your
to
website.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah, we wouldn't have met if I had decided to check that out beforehand, because I've been to your other events before this, and I know you, and I saw that and I was like, is there something I should know?
But how do you feel about me now, Flora?
Relieved.
Okay, good. So we're good. So yeah. I'm glad that you didn't not come on the show or meet me, because we made a great connection around what we do, and so I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, like, the reason I said that stuff about, like, even though your good actions match your good intentions, if it was a turnoff for me, it's probably going to be a turnoff for other
somebody
people.
else.
So, I'm still kind of, I don't know, wary, I guess.
I get it, and I respect that. So I'd love to hear your take on your perspective on therapies for people with autism. What do you think?
Well, the only personal experience I have with therapies for autistic individuals is with BrainCore. The way it works is you have sensors on your head while you're watching a movie, for example. The sensors only record your brainwave patterns. If your brainwaves are dysregulated, the screen may be darker than usual, or the movie will pause. When your brainwaves are regulated, the movie will play normally. It takes advantage of our brain's neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reconfigure or retrain itself through positive reinforcement. In addition to this treatment, there is also a portable AVE, audio-visual entrainment unit, that uses flashing lights and pulsing tones to guide the brain into producing specific brainwave patterns depending on the situation, like if you need to be more relaxed or more focused. Now, this therapy isn't for autism specifically, but it does help autistic people, and the reason my dad incorporated it into his practice was so he could do it on me. He originally found out about it during a chiropractic seminar. When I was in 3rd grade, my behavior was the worst it had ever been, at home or at school, and my parents said that either they were going to have to put themselves on meds just to deal with me, or I was going to have to be put on meds. And I didn't want either option because I knew that meds come with nasty side effects, so the fact that my dad found this drugless, non-invasive option was kind of a godsend for all of us. After this first session, I was less rude, I didn't freak out over slight changes, and I slept through the night for the first time. School staff, who didn't know I was doing brain core, noticed changes, like my gait was better. I didn't know it at the time, but because of how dysregulated I wasn't able to cope with the world around me. I don't even fully understand all the changes myself because I didn't notice them, but my parents and teachers did. My sleep improved, my temperament improved, my behavior improved, my reasoning improved. I was even interacting with kids more at recess. Now, this wasn't a cure. Regulating my brainwaves didn't change how my brain formed, but the negative aspects of my autism diminished considerably. As far as therapies in general, there isn't a one-size-fits-all option. If you've met one autistic person, you've only met one autistic person. We might need different therapies based on our specific support needs, and that doesn't take into account that we often have comorbidities, 2 or more medical issues that someone has at the same time, in addition to autism.
So what I like about what you said is when you've met one person with autism, you've only met one person with autism.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 kids. Both are autistic. They came from the same mother and father, but they are still very different. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. They think it's a one-size-fits-all, but it's not.
Exactly.
So what is the one thing you would tell someone who doesn't know much about autism?
Do I have to pick just one?
No, you can say however many you want to say.
Oh.
We have time.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't realize that.
So you tell me.
Okay, well, this is the most important one.
Okay.
Listen to us, all of us, regardless of how many supports we need or the types of supports we need. Regardless of if we have more disabilities than just autism. Regardless of our race, ethnicity, age, gender identity, sexual orientation, or financial status. We're tired of being written off, dismissed, and ignored.
Powerful. I don't even have to say anything behind that. That was perfect. So what would you say to someone who thinks they know autism pretty well?
I would say, how well do you know autism? What do you know about autism, and what is that knowledge based on? Is it because you have an autistic child who has high support needs and that's all you know about autism? In other words, do you only know autism because you experience it in a very specific setting? If yes, remember that not all autistic people are the same. It's a spectrum for a reason. Don't assume we all have the same needs, strengths, and weaknesses as the autistic people in your life. Even though there are commonalities between us, it's what led to people identifying us after all. It's better to approach us with an open mind, because there is no way you can know everything there is about autism.
I heard everything you said, and I think you're right. It is a spectrum, and we throw that word around a lot, but I don't think people realize what that means. That the spectrum means it's a lot of runway for a lot of people to be different. And so you have to approach it just like with neurotypical. I mean, we approach neurotypical people with an open mind. We should not minimize that or limit that just because we're dealing with somebody with autism. So I appreciate you saying that. Anything else you want to share before we close out, or we're good? Anything else you have on your mind?
I think we're good.
All right.
Thank you so much again for having me on the podcast.
You are welcome. This won't be the last time. And for those of you meet Flora, you're also going to meet her dad. She talked a lot about the brain core therapy that she went through with her dad, who's a chiropractor. So don't miss that episode. It's going to come right after this one. So I want to say thank you for joining us today. And remember, The Real Autism Podcast, where we share relevant, effective, actionable living strategies and solutions. We'll see you next time.